Welcome back to the Shine Within podcast. Tina Huynh, a dynamic force in the wellness world, brings a vibrant touch to holistic health with her unique blend of nutrition, food psychology, and the exhilarating joy of dance. As an entrepreneurial spirit, she's not just advocating for healthy eating and intuitive nourishment, but living it. Tina's holistic approach is about embracing life's adventure, finding balance on the yoga mat, and energizing others through her engaging wellness workshops. She's a believer in the transformative power of a strong body and a nourished soul. A certified sound healer, positive and spiritual psychology coach, and mind body eating coach, Tina is also deepening her journey with a 200-hour YTT. Join her on a vibrant journey to wellness where each bite is a discovery and every move is a step towards a healthier, more joyous life. Yes, everyone wants a little bit more joy in their life, right, Tina?
Yes, that was a beautiful introduction. Thank you.
Of course. It's so nice to meet you and have you on my show. And I would just love for you just to talk a little bit about your background and what got you into the holistic wellness space.
Okay, so I have probably been obsessed with, health, fitness, and wellness for a very long time. I first started as a power lifter. That was my first obsession. I was lifting heavy weight. And then somewhere along the way, I mean, I grew up with my mother constantly telling me like, "Oh, you'd be so much cuter if you just lost a little bit of weight," like that kind of vibe, like I think it's an immigrant thing, immigrant parent vibes. They're just so blunt. But I grew up with that, so it really affected me, I think, because I'm a very sensitive person. And maybe I took it too personally or something, but so it led to me in my early 20s to develop an eating disorder when I actually started to try to lose weight. And I think the eating disorder kind of happened because of lack of knowledge. And it lasted for me probably most of my 20s. I call it my lost decade. Like I didn't think about anything else during my 20s except like how do I eat less and how do I lose weight. Um, so yeah, that was my lost decade. And coming out of it the other side, I'm in recovery. I don't like to say recovered because it's like an addiction, right? Like those thoughts are there, they come back every now and then. You're like, you have to kind of have the self-awareness to be like, I don't need to acknowledge that part of me anymore. Like I can leave it in the past. So yeah, I'm in recovery. And I feel like a lot of people, when I was growing up and I was looking up how to diet and like how to lose weight, everything was just based on restriction and like eating less, and there was no joy in it. So I feel like that is what brought me back to life, is to really just focus on joy, focusing on food that nourishes me, physically, but as well as spiritually, emotionally, and mentally, because all of that is so important. And I think it's so ridiculous that people say that food is just fuel. Like it's so much more than that, right? Entire cultures bond around the family table, and we have memories of our grandparents, making us food. And food is love. It's love. Like when you're little and when you're a baby, you cry because you need attention, and then your mom will literally come and feed you. So I think it's ridiculous that people try to remove emotion from food. Um, and also, like, why would you want to? It's so fun.
It is, right? I love
Yeah,
food.
I know. I love food too. And yeah, it's such a big part of life. Like you have to eat multiple times a day. And I think that is what makes it such a struggle when people feel like they want to lose weight and diet, because everyone's telling them just eat less, just eat less, just eat less. Like that's it. Like that's the motto, right? Eat less, move more. Like it's so simple. Um, and then you have to eat a couple of times a day. So it feels like, am I doing this wrong? Like there's so much information that goes either way. You can find studies that back up that sugar is bad for you, and then you could probably find studies that say sugar is good for you. So there's so much competing information out there and it's so confusing. So for me, I just want to break it down for people. I want to make it easier. I don't think it has to be complicated. I don't think you have to obsess over anything. Like just how can you make it fun and easy and just a part of the lifestyle instead of forcing yourself into something.
Right. Yes. Thanks so much for sharing that. And I remember like even growing up, comparing myself to my sister who is 10 years older than me, and she has a different body frame than I do. She is tall, like 6 feet tall, skinny. And here I am, just like 5'5", and just like, hey, if I eat like one chip, I gain 5 pounds. That's just the way my body was. And so, and seeing everything on TV, all these supermodels, I think that the society had us as well, we're conditioned first and foremost, and looking at the TV and staring at like, this is what I should be looking like. This is how I should be eating, because it's all lies. You really just have to search and just ask yourself, what will make me happy? And you're totally right about that whole family dynamic and just food, like holidays, say, for example, since we're in it practically. What do? We all get together and enjoy a nice cooked meal. And I feel like there are diets. I actually was just talking to another lady about this recently, and she was saying, like, yeah, everyone goes on the diet, but they don't stay on the diet because it's a diet. It's not like a lifestyle choice. Now, how do you actually maintain your own wellness routine in this like busy life that we live in these days?
Yeah, so that's a really good point that you make. Like anybody can go on a diet for a couple of weeks and probably lose weight, but it's what you do after that. You can force yourself to go to the gym every day for a month, but you will probably burn out. And then after that month, you'll get so tired, you rest, right? And then you take like a week off, and then it feels harder to get back into the gym because you have this idea in your head that like I went so hard for a month, like I can't do it like that anymore. So I'm not going to do it at all. Because like you built it up so hard in your head that it feels even harder to start back up. So what I like to do with my clients is like we take everything by baby steps, and it almost feels so stupid because it's such a baby step. Like with one of my clients, just to get her moving, we said every day when she's making her coffee, all she has to do is 5 air squats. And that might take you like what, 20 seconds? So it's such a baby step, but it's really not about the actual movement. It's about building the habit and getting into it. So it's celebrating the little things like um, as 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 long as she did the 5 air squats, then she could consider the day a win. And if you consider the day a win, then it's like on a good note. But if you have it in your mind that like every day you have to do an hour workout, that's such a high barrier of entry. And people don't do it like that all the time. So for me personally, like I just want to get to the gym every day. And what I do there doesn't exactly matter. But once I start moving around, then I start to, my body starts to wake up a little bit and I start to get into the zone. And then I'll, do a longer workout if I want to. But the win was actually just getting there. And it's the same with my eating. Like if I prioritize protein and vegetables most of the time, then I'm considering myself a win. And I never ever restrict anything anymore. I never tell myself that I can't have the chocolate. I never say that I can't eat a bag of chips. Like if I want it, I'll eat it. Because that just makes it less, what's the word I'm looking for? It just makes it more friendly, I think, because when you consider food bad food, it kind of makes like I have a rebel personality in me. So anytime I tell myself I can't have something, my brain will immediately go like, oh, but I really want it.
Yeah, I hear
So
you on that. I am the same way.
yeah, so I just have to tell myself like if I want it, then I can have it, and I do, just so that I teach myself that like you also teach yourself that it's safe, right? Because nothing's going to happen if you eat it. It's just everything bad is in your mind. So yeah, I can't tell myself that I am not allowed to eat a certain food because then I will eat it. Like even after all of this recovery stuff that I've done, I will still go back to the rebel in me and be like, oh, no, I want it.
Right. Now, are there any type of like resources or tools that you actually use in particular that has helped you?
So intuitive eating is how I basically eat. And I think it's a book. You could buy the book, and there's like 10 steps to intuitive eating, which you'll probably be able to find online as well for free.
Oh, wow.
But intuitive eating is just basically listening to your body and honoring your body. So when we are taught by diet culture that we have to eat like 1,500 calories to lose weight, that means that you're ignoring all of your body signals because you're just eating according to a calorie schedule, right? So maybe like 300 breakfast, 500 for dinner, 500 for lunch. I mixed that up somewhere. So you're ignoring your body signals. So if your body's hungry, like you're looking at your calories and be like, I don't have enough room for this. I'm not going to listen to my body. So a lot of us have been taught over time to ignore our bodies. So one of the most important principles in intuitive eating is to honor your body and to honor your hunger. So if you feel hungry, then eat.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the flip side of that, though, if you feel full, then stop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
So
noticed
that
that.
is,
Oh,
go
go ahead.
ahead.
Oh, I was saying, I say that to my child too, because I was taught growing up, like, you better eat everything on your plate or else. But yet then I have my aunt saying, hey, you're looking fat lately.
Exactly.
And it's like, no. So I'm teaching my children, no, if you don't want to eat, don't finish it. Save it for later. And I always teach them, listen to your hunger, and pay attention. Are you eating because you're bored or, are you eating because you're hungry? There's a big difference there.
Mm-hmm. And the same thing, another thing that's important for kids, I think, is to not make any food off limit, to
Hmm.
not treat candy as like a special food, because then you're putting it on a pedestal. So it's the same way for us, for to eat ourselves. Like, don't put candy on a pedestal. It's just another food. Like, you don't need to save it for a rainy day. You don't have, it's not like a reward. It's just food. So all of these stories that we have around food are simply just stories, and you can change them at any time.
Yeah, you can always reframe everything and then just tell yourself something different and you'll see it makes a big difference, I feel, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what are
Mm-hmm.
some of the practical steps, our listeners could actually take reconnecting to their bodies, natural hunger signals?
Yeah, so the biggest thing would actually be to eat slower and eat undistracted. A lot of us are eating with our phones, watching television, and not paying attention when we're eating.
Mm,
So it's really easy for you to ignore body signals. But when you eat slowly, you it's a very, very slight feeling when your body tells you that you're full. And it's so easy to just be like, oh, but I want more. So I'm going to continue eating. So when you eat slowly and when you're not distracted, you can start to listen and pay attention to that more. And then it's just a practice of really paying attention and like because it's hard to stop when you're full if you're used to overeating all the time because then you're used to feeling like the extended stomach like you're used to feeling like 100% full because then you know when to stop but your body is like giving you full signals that maybe about like 70-75% full so if you wanted to practice intuitive eating it's really just practicing and like slowly decreasing the amount of fullness over time. So just practice like when you feel that subtle shift in your hunger level, practice stopping, like practice pausing, maybe taking like a 5 minute break from eating and really paying attention to what's going on. And even asking yourself, like, do I want to keep eating because I'm still hungry? Or do I want to keep eating because this is really good? Or do I want to keep eating because I'm bored? Right. So
mhm.
it's really dependent on self-awareness, this whole thing. And like I said, a lot of us spend our days so distracted, so like scrolling on our phones all the time, trying to occupy our minds that we're so uncomfortable with being bored and with even listening to our bodies. So the more that you can just practice stillness, I think the more it prepares you for everything else.
Yeah, 100%. Because I have one stepchild who's a little bit on the chubbier side, and he likes to eat all the time. And then I have my son, and they're only about a year and a half apart. My son, who's younger, and he's very skinny. Didn't take after me apparently. And he has a hard time eating everything, which is totally fine. I get it because he has some stomach issues going on anyway. So I'm my stepson, he always before used to always come downstairs can I have something to eat? Can I have something to eat? Can I have something to eat? So and then I would give him something to eat and then he's all, can I have some more? And I'd be like, you know what? Let's do this. How about you just drink some more water? We wait about 20 minutes and let me know if you're still hungry. If you are still hungry, then I can give you something else, a healthier something. And so, and this is the one that does not like vegetables. It doesn't like fruits or anything. He likes protein, all the all the food that he shouldn't be really eating too much of. But
Hmm.
so we try to incorporate some vegetables in there by here's some carrot sticks and things. But the other one, my son, he actually loves like broccoli, he loves carrots, he loves asparagus, he'll try everything. And he'll tell me in the morning time, the youngest one, I don't want to eat breakfast this morning. I want to wait. I said, no problem. I said, do you want me to go ahead and make you some warm water? And he says, yeah, I'll have some warm water. So it's so funny to see the two difference between them. And then, but when they go out and then they tend to have like, we'll go out and we'll have like a pizza or something, then they're on the same page. It's just very interesting. So I'm happy that I'm able to kind of guide them because I didn't have that guidance at all. It was like, you need to eat all your food or, they're gonna put you and make you feel guilty, like there's starving people in the world that are not eating. And it's like, and then we get used to that. So I really agree with what you're saying
Hmm.
about the whole pause and just waiting to see, are we still hungry after we eat, or are we just wanting to eat more because we're used to that, right? Yeah. So
Hmm.
thanks for bringing that up. I appreciate
Yeah.
that. And can you actually share like a personal story, a success story from your clients who have gone through the experience of intuitive eating and it actually made a significant impact on them?
Yeah, I think one of my favorite stories is anyone that has struggled with, binge eating or food addiction. You can't keep any food in your house, right? Any snacks, because it's going to be like gone in an instant. So my client and I had been working together for a couple of months. And then on our next call, she told me that she was like cleaning out one of her kitchen cupboards and she actually found chocolate that had expired since we started working together. Like she bought chocolate and just completely forgot it was there. And this is something that had never happened in her life before. So I like it's such a tiny win, but it shows like the shift in mindset that happened, and it was a huge win for her. So yeah, I think that's one of my favorite stories.
Yeah, and then it is about just taking those little shifts and making those changes and then changing the habits and being consistent about it is a big, and like you said, self-awareness. That is a huge, huge. It's huge. Like, and I think in life, self-awareness in life, you can imagine what your potential when you have awareness on everything. It's amazing. I'm actually going through a process for myself and like a spiritual awareness. And so I'm just like, I'm delving deep into that. And I'm just like, wow. So yeah, with food, I didn't have a good relationship with food before. Like when I was in high school, it was all about McDonald's because it was walking distance and we had like off campus. And so we would just go walk to McDonald's. I would have like chicken nuggets and a Coke and French fries. And, even though I was playing sports, I mean, that wasn't good for my system. I mean, I was feeling sluggish, I was feeling weak, and I was wondering why. Well, hello, McDonald's every day is not good. I think they even made a movie about that. What was it called? Super Size Me or something like that. I forget, some
Oh yeah,
documentary. Or
yeah.
he did it for like 30 days and he like gained like 30 pounds. I'm not sure. Or even more. I forget.
Yeah.
But I remember all of like eating horribly and then going into college, like, man, it was easier to lose all that weight eating bad. And then in college, it's like, okay, I'm starting to drink more, socialize more, and everything was based on food and alcohol. And that's what it was all about. And then the weight started going on, and it's like, oh, and then I got into these fad diets. Like there's always a diet. There was always a new trendy diet that was online, that was in a magazine, that was on TV, that they're trying to like, there's like diet pills that they're trying to sell on TV. I think I've tried literally everything. And to this day, I'm actually at a point where I do use my intuition because I am intuitive and I do listen to my hunger cues and I do listen to myself. Like, am I even hungry? Why am I even eating anything? And if I want to have, like, my mom,
Mhm.
okay, my birthday is coming up in a couple of days, and she bought me like a wonderful, I don't know if you ever heard of Nothing Bundt Cakes, that Bundt store, cake store. Oh,
Mm-mm.
anyway, so it's like all of our favorite cake. And so it's a bundt cake, but it's chocolate. I love chocolate and chocolate chip. So she bought that for me, and I'm like, oh, wow, I'm excited. I brought it home. And then I just had a little piece, and that was just satisfying for me because I didn't really like need it anymore. Like, I'm like, I'm okay. So I really am listening to my hunger cues, and I feel better because like I'm not restricting myself, and I do exercise, not like as much as I used to, but I still am. And I feel good because I don't feel restricted. I don't have to be all nervous to go to restaurants and like having to say, okay, can you leave out the dressing? Can you make sure that this is cooked grilled? And you know what I'm saying? That mentality
Yeah.
is excruciating.
Yes,
It
yes.
literally is
And
excruciating.
yeah, and a lot of people don't realize that like dieting, it's stressful on the body physically, but also mentally, like calorie counting, like avoiding certain foods. Some people try to go gluten-free, dairy-free, soy-free, and I could not. I love all of those things, but I have like everyone's tried all the diets, right? Like I did try to go even carb-free. I tried to go keto and I was trying to all these different fad diets, and they're all exhausting. And I'm like, because you said we're all intuitive. And I'm just learning like your body knows what it needs. If you just listened, like your body gives you signs and signals, but they're all very, very quiet. And you just have to pay attention to them. Like if you needed salt because you were thirsty, you might start craving salty food. And I don't even really watch what I eat anymore. Um, I just so one of my goals for every day is just to have a high protein diet because I lift weights and I want to gain muscle. And that is literally the only food rule that I have for myself is just prioritize protein. So some days, like I've been on this like quesadilla kick. I haven't had vegetables for a few days, but it's like it is what it is, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you don't have vegetables for a few days, but then like the third day of doing that, you're like, oh wait, I could really use a salad. Like it's inherent. It just comes out.
Mhm.
Um, and then you get a salad. So I really feel like if you just pay attention to your body, it knows exactly everything that you need. And you're right, like it's we're like people are so taught to ignore everything. So once we start paying attention, I think that's when all of the magic happens.
Oh, yes. And then we were also talking about physical movement, like you were mentioning with your client, as she's making her coffee, she was doing some air squats. I mean, that's great. There's those little corporations that you can add into your daily routine, your morning routine, or even your evening routine. Is there any other movements that people should be doing in their day, or what are some tricks or hacks that you can give us?
It's really all about walking. Walking is, I think, the most important thing. We are so confined to our desks now,
Mhm.
as like office workers and desk workers. We don't get enough movement in. Like I'm probably at my desk for 8 hours a day. So I have to make the intention to go outside and go for a walk. Like I have to make the intention to go to the gym. Because if we're not, after work, most people are just continuing sitting because now they're going to watch Netflix or Disney or something, right? And that's what I mean by it has to be a lifestyle change. So if you are sedentary for most of your day, it needs to be counterbalanced. And it doesn't have to be hard and it doesn't have to be painful. If all you did was walk, you would be probably better than like the average if all you did was just walk every day. Um, but like you said in my introduction, I also try to make it fun. So I have started to take dance classes, and I dance every now and then. Even at home by myself, I'll put on music when I'm sad and I start dancing because you can't be sad and dance at the same time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So, And so like my client, like when we started out with 5 air squats, I also tell people maybe it's the dead of winter and you don't want to go outside, just like walk in circles around your house. It doesn't have to be, a year-long commitment to a gym membership. You don't have to buy a whole bunch of weights. You don't have to start a daily yoga practice. Just do something that is more than you did yesterday. And just continue to do it as much as you can every day. And I think there are studies that show like even if you're not 100% consistent, even if you're just, 20% consistent on your goals of walking every day, if you did like 2 out of 7 days a week, you would still make progress eventually. It would be slower, obviously, but just some sort of effort to get your body moving will add up. So I think that is probably one of the biggest take home messages for me is just like, just move. Like,
Mhm.
whatever it is, just do it and do it as much as you can. But like, don't put the pressure on yourself that you have to do it every day because you don't have to do it every day in order to make progress. Because I know for a lot of people, when they start off, like I work out every day at this point in my life. But when I started, I fell off when COVID happened and because we were all at home for a while. So I stopped working out. But when I started working out again post COVID, I didn't go from zero to nothing. I started going to the gym maybe like honestly, maybe like twice a month. And you just have to be like accepting of it. Because for me, the more pressure that I put on myself, the worse my mental talk gets and like the less that I want to keep doing it. So a huge part of all of this for me is also like how can I be more compassionate towards myself and how can I just love myself more? So when I worked out twice a month, it's just like, okay, it's like that's all I have the capacity for is just twice a month. And then eventually it became once a week. And then eventually it became twice a week. And now it's every day. And it's that long-term lifestyle change, like the changes over time, that's the stuff that sticks. Because like I said earlier, anybody can go to the gym, force themselves to gym for an hour every day for a month. But you're gonna burn out eventually. You're gonna get exhausted, and then what? And then you might fall off the boat and even end up at a worse spot than you did before. Maybe you're not used to it. Maybe you go so hard you injure yourself, and then it's like a net negative now. So if you
Yeah,
just do it slowly, build it up over time, I think that's the best way.
absolutely. Because I know I did go to the gym once before. This is a long time ago, in my 20s. And I remember like, I'm gonna go full throttle. I'm gonna go ahead and work out hardcore. I'm gonna get a trainer. Da, da. And I was going like really hard. And then I hurt myself. And then I couldn't go to the gym anymore. And then did I want to go back to the gym? No, because it deterred me from wanting to even be there because it reminded me of my injury and I don't want to feel that pain again. So I totally get what you're saying. And then for me right now, it is about movement because I am at a desk all the time. Well, once a week I do massage, actually twice a week I do massage, and that is movement for me, and I appreciate that. And one of the days of the two, I'm outdoors, getting the sun, doing the massage because we're outdoors doing it. Probably won't be doing it for so long because it's getting cold now. But during the summer and spring and then early fall, we were doing that. And it is not about just moving your body, So when I'm at my desk and it's been a long time, like my body tells me, because it starts hurting, like you need to move. And so I'll just go ahead and
Mm-hmm.
have one of my trainers. So she made like a whole bunch of like yoga videos because she's a yoga expert. So a bunch of yoga videos for me. And so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do this one today. And then afterward, and I I feel so much better because after her yoga videos, there's like a little breathing segment. So we do that. And then I'm like, okay, now I can get back to work and my body feels
Mm-hmm.
more loose. And I also love the thing that you brought up with the dancing. I love dancing. I always say, house cleaning because I'm always cleaning the house. That is movement as well. So
Yes, it is.
pushing that
Yes, it
vacuum
is.
back and forth, you're working out your arm. You're like, what's up? And a nice clean house, which is a nice clean environment. So it's a win-win for everybody. Yeah. So also want to talk about sleep
Okay.
because for me, sleep, it's hard for me to get good rest. Now, do you feel like we need to just listen to our bodies when it comes to sleep? Because sometimes I can't sleep and it's like, okay, I don't want to take medicine or anything. My body, I'm just awake, not thinking too much in my mind at all. Just I'm awake. But then some other times I just like knock out completely early and I'm like, okay, my body's telling me to go to bed. Is there like a set time that we're supposed to sleep, or should we just listen to our bodies as well?
It varies from person to person, depending on like it varies from person to person on what time you should go to bed every day. So I can't tell you what would work for you. But like the sleep science shows that if you keep a consistent bedtime and awake time, that is the best to always go to bed around the same time and always wake up, I think within like the hour. So that is the best way to have a consistent sleep schedule. And if it varies too much, then maybe potentially your body gets used to the variance and doesn't know when to be tired. So it might suffer in that way. And the best way to go about it is to have a routine. But if you're having trouble falling asleep, I would say take a look at your habits before going to bed. Because I know, like, when I go on Instagram and TikTok before I go to bed, like, my brain is wired and I do not want to go to bed. So I have to try extra hard to go get sleepy after I'm just scrolling on Instagram. So I think it's really important to kind of have a winding down session, or maybe like a half hour before you go to bed, where you can try avoid your phone as much as possible. Although I struggle with that probably every day. So instead of like avoiding my phone, I just kind of meditate and do a breathing sequence before I go to bed and just focus on my breath and center myself, and then I relax that way. And there's also supplements. It's not necessarily medicine, but if you are lacking in magnesium, which most people are magnesium deficient, if you take magnesium before bed, it will help you fall asleep as well. And I know every time I take magnesium, my sleep quality is so much better.
Magnesium is so good. I take that too at night and I sleep
Mm-hmm.
wonderfully. And then there's also
Mm-hmm.
melatonin that people take, and then chamomile tea people drink at
Mm-hmm.
night.
L-theanine is another one.
Yeah, that's
There's a lot
right.
of different things you could do. I just stick to magnesium and meditation.
Yes, and what I've been actually exploring is the frequency hertz. So
Mhm.
432 hertz frequency music and just kind of like sleep. It's actually wonderful. So instead of going on your phone, just go onto YouTube and put that in there and then just listen to the music. Because that way the phone is there and then you can just rest. That's what I've been doing. It's been
Yes.
working beautifully for some of the nights that I'm like a little bit restless.
Yeah, just give your brain something to focus on, and like that sound is perfect too.
Yeah, I love the meditation. I love just feeling connected to my body and my spirit. And I feel like I'm able to escape this world and go into another world. That's a different podcast, but it's been fun. Let's just say
Yeah,
that.
meditation is life-changing once people actually get into meditation, for sure.
Yeah, I remember I was like, I hate meditation because I didn't know how to meditate properly because my mind was still talking too much. Just like, shut up, mind, like leave me alone. I wanna
Hmm.
meditate now, but it wouldn't turn off. And it didn't get to a point where like after like all this healing that I've done in the past and everything, and then now I'm able to shut my mind off whenever I want to. It's like you're done. I don't need you don't exist in my head right now.
That's amazing.
Yeah, no, it's because I was the worst. I was the worst. I had such bad thoughts about myself. I was always
Hmm.
afraid of like what's going to happen. I hated myself. I hated everything. It's like, man, you want to make sure your mind is your best friend, not your enemy. So I had to like change that
Hmm.
completely. And it's been working great. So now I'm able to meditate because before I couldn't. I'm just a bit like jittery and all anxiety-ish. It's like, ugh.
Yeah.
It
Well,
was
you know
crazy.
what they say, like the less time you have to meditate, that means the more you need to meditate.
Right, right. And now I can just
Yeah.
meditate for 2 minutes, but it feels like 2 hours. I'm like, wow, where'd I go?
That's incredible. That's amazing. You must have been meditating for a long time.
Yeah, yeah, it seems like it, but I've only really started doing it for like maybe 2 years now. I think since
Hmm.
like actually COVID happened and I had time to pause and like learn about
Hmm.
myself. And that's what really, even though I was already on the recovery journey from alcoholism and from like 2017, it really wasn't until we like stopped everything and then I didn't have to worry about work because no one was getting massages. I wasn't giving massages during that time. And I
Hmm.
was like, okay, let me just discover who Gina is and let me see what she's all about and what she likes. And I just explored, I studied, and I mean, I studied, I did a lot of research just online, doing my own stuff. And then I learned so much. I'm
Hmm.
like, wow, this is amazing. So life
It
is
is.
better when you meditate. You'll see people, you'll see.
It is. And like meditation goes hand in hand with all of this work
Mm,
too, because like I mentioned, eating undistracted, that's like an eating meditation. When you're just sitting there and you're focusing on your food, you're focusing on your taste, that's basically an eating meditation. And what meditation teaches us is like to be okay with yourself and your thoughts, and you don't have to listen to all of your thoughts because your brain thinks thoughts without your consent, basically, right? It just goes and goes and goes. And meditation teaches you that you don't have to listen to this. So, like, if you tie that back into eating and like hunger, or like when you know you're full, but your brain is just like, I want this snack, I want this candy, I want this chocolate, you can meditate on it and be like, I hear you, but I don't want to listen to you right now. I know I don't need the chocolate. And you can meditate on it and just like take the thought and release it, like let it go.
yeah, I think my husband needs to practice that one because he eats fast and a lot at once. And for me, I eat now, now I do eat very slow and I just take my time and I'm just a slow eater. And I like that though, because it allows me to chew my food more and then it digests my stomach. And here he complains about his stomach being all bloaty and gassy and this. And then I'm like, I don't ever experience that. And I can eat spicy food, I don't get bloated or gassy. So it's just
Yeah.
really like kind of like just chewing and just eating slow. I enjoy my food better that way too, and it lasts longer.
Yes. Yes. That is a huge tenet of intuitive eating, is to chew your food thoroughly, because then you can actually taste it, you enjoy it, it lasts longer, just like you said. And your body also takes time to realize that it's full, right?
Hmm.
So you give yourself
Right.
the time to when you're eating slowly.
Yeah. Now, for someone feeling overwhelmed with where to start on, their wellness journey, what would be the first step you would recommend for them on this holistic health path?
Um, I would say that it's all in your head. Like it's all a mental game. So whatever you do, just do it. Like don't overthink it, don't overanalyze it. There's no perfect, like everyone has something else that works for them. So you could have 100 different people tell you things that work for them, and you don't have to listen to any of them, right? You find what works for you. And if you don't know what works for you, just keep trying and keep going. And just remember that, like, it's an experiment, it's a journey. This is your life, right? Don't rush it. Just take your time, do what you need to do, and have fun while you're doing it. I think that's, yeah, just, have fun. Why make it harder for yourself than it already is?
Right. If you're not having fun, then you're not doing it right. That is a saying. That's right. Remind me of that.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Mm-hmm.
awesome. And where can our listeners go ahead and learn more about your work and connect with you?
So my website is tinasarena.com. So TINASARENA.com. And I'm on Instagram the most, but you can find my Instagram link on my website, but it's Tina's underscore arena underscore on Instagram.
Nice. Nice. And any last thoughts, Tina, at all?
Thank you. Thank you very much for this conversation. It was really fun. I hope I hope if there's a main takeaway for anyone, it's just like we're too hard on ourselves. Just let it go. Let go of all of your shoulds that people put on you. Just do what you want to do. Have fun while you're at it. And, it doesn't have to be perfect. It could be messy if you want it to, but have fun.
Yes, we're only here for a little bit of time. Why not make the best of it, And why
Hmm.
all these rules? Be yourself, If you're,
I know.
you're a loving person, then, just
Yeah.
shine, 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 shine.
If you want to eat cheese, then eat cheese.
Eat cheese, yeah. That's okay. Heck, even I eat cheese and I'm lactose intolerant. So if I want it, I'm like, well, I'm just gonna eat it anyways. See what happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Tina. I appreciate you having you on my show today.
Thanks for having me again, Gina.
Of course.